Folks, Blackstar Network is here.
Hold no punches!
I'm real revolutionary right now.
Support this man, Black Media. He makes sure that our stories are told.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America, Roland.
Stay black. I love y'all.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, this difference between Blackstar Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home.
You dig?
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you helped build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Go, Roland.
Folks, today's Monday, December 2nd, 2024. Coming up on Roland Martin Unfiltered, streaming live on the Blackstar Network. We're live here at TWA Hotel at JFK Airport in New York City, where we have an assortment of union workers, labor officials, and community advocates who are focused on, of course, the ongoing fight for union representation. Of course, we're here with the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, or IAM. We'll be talking about the battle that's happening here in New York, but also what we're seeing all across the country. Also, we'll be talking about the election results and the impact that is going to have on unions across this country. Lots to talk about, folks. It's time to bring the fun. I'm Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Blackstar Network. Let's go.
Whatever it is, he's got the scoop, the fact, the fine. And when it breaks, he's right on time and it's rolling. Best believe he's knowing. Putting it down from sports to news to politics. With entertainment just for kicks, he's rolling. It's on go, roll, y'all. It's Roland Martin, yeah. Rolling with Roland now. He's funk, he's fresh, he's real, the best, you know he's Roland Martin now. Martin.
Folks, we're here at TWA Hotel in JFK Airport in New York City. And, of course, glad to be here. A couple of months ago, we were in Atlanta with IAM, talking about, again, the effort to unionize Delta ramp workers there. And so we're now here at JFK Airport. Lots has happened over the last couple of months. Let's get right to it. Richie Johnson, he's General Vice President, IAM Air Transport Territory. That's it. Y'all gonna clap on? Yeah, I'm gonna leave you hanging right there. It's kind of like, should we clap for him or not? I don't know. What would you do?
Yeah, there's going to be a long walk home.
First and foremost, since we last chatted, that was in September, when we talked, how has the effort gone since we broadcast that show?
Yeah, I mean, initial big boost, and it continues to grow.
I had mentioned the last time we were together that if we were able to grow our numbers and capture the folks that cards had expired, that we would possibly be found by the end of the year. The struggle still is getting those folks that have not, that their cards have expired. Our numbers are well more than we would need to file for an election if we had both the combination of our current cards and the ones that have expired. So, I mean, we're knocking at the door, and the numbers are increasing every week. So there's a lot of positive to look at from that show. And look, this kind of exposure was fantastic for us. People were talking about it, not just at Delta Airlines, but at all the airlines. And the necessity for this group of folks to get organized. And it really actually inspired the next group, which we're going to talk about today as well, which is JetBlue, which just blew up shortly thereafter. So
really?
The impact was fantastic.
And was it because people, heard about it, but was an opportunity also folks who are not familiar with the effort to learn about what the workers go through and what their concerns were?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that necessarily was what triggered. I think, look, we had filed for an election with JetBlue 2 years ago, and we lost the election. Getting to a filing was a big deal. It was the first time in 19 years that a filing had been done on that property. And I think, if anything, us being able to get the message out to those folks as well, what it did was it said to them, hey, look, let's not get left behind. We dropped the ball last time. Let's get on this thing. And we literally said to that group of people, look, if you want this, you got to do it yourselves, at least out of the box. Mm-hmm. And they 100% have done the drive themselves, which is fantastic. And that's, a credit to what they're doing, what we're doing at Delta Airlines, and to that group of folks that are saying, hey, look, we don't want to get left behind. It's our turn.
As we discussed last time, when you look at the percentage of Americans who have a favorable view of unions, you have not seen it this high in quite some time. And do you think that's because with the wage gap growing, with the wealth gap growing, the top 1%, 3 or 4 individuals having more wealth than the bottom 50%, that people realize that, hey, this idea of just going it alone may not necessarily always work?
Well, 100%. I mean, it's absolutely a contributing factor. And the fact that, we're probably more visible and more vocal than we've ever been. We've had, for the past 4 years, a White House that was very pro-labor and said the word union a lot. And we were able to, as labor, get our message out even more. And people wanted to hear the message. And so I think that, taking these opportunities, and appreciate you having us on the show again, to be able to talk to folks and to get our word out there really just inspires people to go, look, there is an avenue. And I also think that we have, a new generation of workers we have a new generation, period, right, that are very involved. And they want to be involved in something. Doesn't matter what it is. They want to be involved, whether it's social injustice, whether it's this movement or that movement. And we have an opportunity to be the something. And when they see that, the inequality that you're talking about, and they want to see that changed in the workplace, well, we're giving them that avenue. And so, yeah, I mean, a big part of why we're having success is this next generation of workers.
I had a conversation over the holidays with a couple of folks, and I was talking to them about if they really want to just step back and look at how the nation has changed. Meaning, when you look at types of jobs, how much you're able to make. For a long time in this country, you didn't have to go to college. You had a significant number of jobs for folks that were blue collar, working class. They were able to have good paying jobs, buy homes, send their kids to college, take care of their families. And then if you look at this across the board, so you got manufacturing. Then it used to be able, when you went to a grocery store, the people who actually was a person behind the counter. Sure. I can't remember the last time I even physically went into a bank. And so when you look at a lot of those jobs are now just gone. And so it's hard for people to understand how jobs have changed in this country. And many of the customer service jobs that used to be for students or young folks, you literally have middle-aged and older folks assuming those jobs because of how the labor force has changed.
Yeah, look, it has changed dramatically. But there are still a lot of jobs out there. And there is still a an availability for people to come to work for union jobs. And there's been a shortage of people even making those attempts. I mean, I think part of the problem, too, is that for so long we were telling our kids, you got to get a college degree.
Right.
There is no job for you if you don't get a college degree. Well, that's not true. The trades are begging for people. Like, there's a lot of work out there. And look, if you're in the airline industry, that job's not going anywhere right now. I mean, yes, they're changing. You can go to a kiosk. But there's still people working at these airports. There's still people loading these bags. There's still people, taking your reservations or working security.
As I tell somebody, there are some jobs you can't actually outsource.
That's right.
Somebody overseas can't get that bag from point A to point B.
That's right. There's not a robot going out to your airplane and turning a wrench and fixing it, or changing the gears, or changing the wheels, or There's still all these others. There's not a person coming. There's not a robot coming to your house to do your plumbing. There's not a robot coming to your house or AI coming to your house to redo your electrical in your kitchen. There's still a lot of work out there for people that want to work hard.
Somebody posted a tweet 3 days ago that blew me away. It is amazing. They said it's pretty evil in a country where people are fine with a CEO making $10,000 an hour, but folks are having an attitude of somebody who wants $10 an hour. Yes. And it is, it really is. It really is crazy when you think about it. You have these conversations and folks are like, "Oh no, that's just too much." You're sitting there going, "But so and so." I mean, what was it? The outgoing Boeing CEO got something like a $60 million golden parachute or something like that. The previous one got, I don't know, 30, 40, 50, 60 million, and then the new one's going to probably have a great package as well. Folks are perfectly cool with that.
Yeah. Well, look, and we've watched it the last several years, right? Where whether it was government workers, or now you even see like most recently Boeing, right? We represent Boeing, and the feedback was mixed, right? But I think overall people ended up getting behind them. Auto workers, government workers. I remember hearing everyone complaining about pensions for government workers. Like, well, you don't understand how collective bargaining works then, because the way it works is, you go to the table, you negotiate an agreement, and it's give and take. And they maybe gave up something. Maybe they got a little bit less in their wages at some point so that they could have a pension. Well, that's what we do every day, right? So, for people to complain about minimum wage, it's $20, it's $20 an hour for now, somebody making minimum wage. Good. Maybe they can afford to buy the coffee that they're selling you, because to me it seems ridiculous, and it's not it's not going to change the cost of your cup of coffee. Like the cost of your cup of coffee is driven by greed. Like Starbucks, says, okay, let's see what happens when we raise the cup 50 cents. Well, you kept buying it. So let's see if we raise another 50 cents. Well, you kept buying it. We'll keep raising it until you stop buying it.
I think they got crack in that coffee.
Yeah, that's definitely.
I mean, I see these people at 5 o'clock in the morning, massive line. I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, there's 40 people in line. I'm like, go drink some damn water. I can't. I don't drink coffee. I'm sorry. I ain't knowing. How much? Like $7, $8, $9, $10 for a cup of coffee? Man, that's like a case of water. I can't. I'm sorry.
Two cups of coffee and you just paid that person's hourly wage.
Just wake the hell up. That's what just slap yourself. There you go. I just saved you about $9, $10.
But I just find that argument absolutely ridiculous.
Oh, how about this one? So I was flying back from Houston from Thanksgiving, and so I'm on the plane. I'm looking at this story, and I knew it was a lot. So in 2023, the top 20 airlines took in $33.3 billion for fees for carry-on bags. $33.3 billion.
Yeah, and that's greed. There's no other driving factor than greed. Okay, you have airlines that don't have bag fees. Southwest Airlines, there's no bag fees, right? They're still making a whole lot of money. I sit on the board of directors of United Airlines. They talk about this. They talk about the bags and say, we can't get rid of the bag fees now. It's just too much money. We make way too much money to get away from the bag fees. And by the way, here you go again, 50 cents cup of coffee. You keep paying it. You know, you're not changing airlines. Those flights are full. They don't care. And people are still checking their bags. They're not saying, hey, I'm going to bring a carry-on. No, they're still checking their bags. As long as we're willing to do it, they're going to keep charging it.
You mentioned earlier in terms of folks whose cards expired, and when we were in Atlanta, actually when I was flying back, I was flying back. I was on Delta, and I saw a brother. I said, hey, you know, we had a show last night. He was like, yeah, I saw the show. There's another side to the story, too. I was like, oop, I guess he wasn't down with the show. Like, oops, okay, no side he's on. Yeah. So how do you still deal with that? I mean, is it a one-on-one thing? I mean, how are you trying to educate workers who are skeptical of unionizing your ramp workers and others?
Yeah, it really is a one-on-one when we can get them, right? This is an opportunity for people to hear us, and maybe they'd be willing to have those conversations. When we have those sit-downs, when we are able to knock on their door or their coworkers are able to engage them in the workplace, the vast majority, the percentage is super high. 70, 80% of the people that you can talk about the actual comparisons, they buy in. They're interested.
So what's their fear? Is their fear, hey, if we do this, this is going to cause us to lose our jobs? Is that the fear?
Sure, there's definitely that fear. There's absolutely that fear of that I don't want to be a target, right? There's absolutely that fear. But there's also just the unknown, right? They're being fed, you know, and I mentioned this on the last show. You're getting a relatively close wage to what the rest of the industry gets for them. So they don't take the time to do the research. They don't take the time to find out for themselves. And so, you know, what they're getting told by Delta Airlines or some of these airlines that are non-unionized is, why would you do that? You're going to have to pay, you know, $50 a month for union dues. You know, why do you want to pay that extra amount? Well, you're going to pay that extra amount because you're about to get a lot more. Like, the companies are not out there, you know, trying to keep unions off their property just because they don't want to mess with their culture. No, they're keeping them off the property because an airline like Delta Airlines is saving $1 billion nearly a year in labor costs because they don't give their employees the same package that every other airline worker that's unionized is getting.
So what's that package? So what, for the person who's watching and listening who doesn't know, what are the workers getting if they actually do unionize?
Like, so for say, give it. I'm not going to go through every airline, but I'll just take United Airlines as an example. United Airlines, the employees of United Airlines have the top wages, or at some point were the top wages. We're in negotiations again. They'll go back to the top. But the top of the industry in wages, they got a pension, they got a 401k, they have medical plan, they have dental plan, they have paid vacation, they got paid sick leave, they got profit sharing, they got shifts that they get to bid, they get double time, they get overtime, extra pay on their holiday. If they work a holiday, they get double time. Their package is complete. It's not an empty shell where it's painted pretty on the outside with a dollar sign, and then on the inside it's empty. Like, a contract at United Airlines is 300 pages long. And it's not just about that, too. They have protections. They have rights, grievance procedures. If they are wronged in the workplace and a contract is violated, whether it's bidding your shift or picking overtime or things of that nature, they have an ability to say, you passed me over, now you have to pay me. And you have representation to do so.
So compare that to the airlines you're trying to unionize.
Well, I mean, they just don't have. I mean, they'll have pieces of it. Sometimes they'll be comparable in the wages. Not like, if you take a JetBlue, they're not even comparable. They're just not even comparable with the top 5 or 6 airlines. They're not even in the ballpark. But Delta does a good job of keeping the wages up there. But, you know, I'll give you an example. But
your point goes beyond wages. There are other things in the package.
So much bigger now. I mean, for instance, I'll give you an example. Delta has a pension, right? It's not the same type of pension that we have at a United or one of our other carriers. They have a pension. You get hurt on the job, at work, get hurt, job related. You go out, you get paid while you're going out. Whatever they paid you while you're going out, that comes out of what your pension compensation is when you retire. That's ridiculous. That's absurd. But that is because the law has a loophole in it that says that they can draw from that to pay their workman's comp or to pay their costs for that. They do. And then they take it out of your portion of your pension. That's just one example. Shift bidding, overtime, the list goes on and on of just the inadequacies, and it's not any different at JetBlue.
I'm going to go to a break. We come back. I want to talk about November 5th.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got to talk about that and how you are preparing your membership for the next 4 years.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go throw up at break, and then we'll.
That's not a problem. We got a big trash can right over there for you. Trust me, we made sure it wasn't orange. All right, y'all. Some of y'all figured that one out during the break. All right, y'all. Gonna be right back here from TWA Hotel at JFK Airport. You're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Blackstar Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Blackstar Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Blackstar Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
Now streaming on the Blackstar Network.
I had been trying to get a record deal for a long time. You know, when I finally got signed to the Motown record label in 2003, I was 34, 35 years old. And up until that time, I had been trying to get record deals the traditional way. You know, you record your demo, you record your music, and you send it, you know, to the record labels, or maybe somebody, a friend of a friend, knows somebody that works for, you know, the record label. And really, chemistry that was my last-ditch effort at being in the music business.
How long have you been trying?
I've been trying since I was a teenager. Wow. You know? And you know. And I'm grateful that it didn't. I'm grateful that it happened when it happened, because I wasn't prepared, you know, as a teenager to embrace all that comes with a career in the music industry.
Now that Roland Martin is willing to give me the blueprint, hey, Cyrus, I need to go to Tyler Perry and get another blueprint because I need some green money. The only way I can do what I'm doing, I need to make some money. So you'll see me working with Roland. Matter of fact, it's the Roland Martin and Cheryl Underwood show. Well, should it be the Cheryl Underwood show and the Roland Martin show? Well, whatever show it's going to be, it's going to be good.
All right, folks, we are back here at TWA Hotel at JFK Airport. Richie Johnson joins us, of course, General Vice President, IAM, Air Transport Territory. So last time we chatted, we were in Atlanta, September. Election was 2 months out. Did not go the way many of us wanted it to go. It's amazing to me to listen to people who will say, oh, yeah, I know he said those things. I just don't think those things are going to happen. As we talked about, some of your union brothers and sisters wanted him back in, but unions have a bullseye on their back and on their chest from this incoming administration.
Yeah, I mean, it's a scary time, and it is interesting to hear, you know, some of our members that, you know, thought this was in their best interest. It's like they must have selective amnesia, because we had 4 years of it. We saw what happened. I mean, I guess the upside to the 4 years when Trump was in was that we organized like we never had in the past, because wages were so stagnant. because the people he was putting into positions, whether it's the National Labor Relations Board or the National Mediation Board, were so anti-union that the damage that he was doing was horrific to workers. That maybe they forgot that there was over 45 manufacturing plants that closed, many of which we represented, and that those jobs just were going out of this country.
And manufacturing increased under Biden-Harris.
Well, a lot increased. Wages increased. A lot happened that was very positive and pro-worker, and they certainly were out there, fighting for our cause. I mean, we had the Secretary of Labor was a former union leader until he left, and then they brought in the next one. But a huge labor background. The head of the National Mediation Board, which is the body that governs the Railway Labor Act that we fall under in Air and Rail, had been an attorney for the Machinists Union. There was, the new person that they put into the National Labor Relations Board, huge labor background. These were people that had experience and that were pro-labor. And those have a massive impact in how we are governed, in how elections go forward, the rules behind elections, having stopping the companies from having meetings that just bash unions. There was a lot that happened under that in this administration, and we forgot what had happened the 4 years under Trump. And it's a scary time because they're not being shy about it. I mean. He can say whatever he wants about I don't know anything about 2025 or.
Well, I'm just going to hire everybody who work with it.
But I'm going to hire everybody. No, I'm going to put them in positions of power.
Right.
And there is a very large section in 2025 that says, get rid of the National Labor Relations Board. Try to do whatever we can to
look, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are suing, and they want the Supreme Court to rule against the National Labor Relations Board.
Yeah.
That's real.
The list goes on, and it was like, look, they bought into the rhetoric, and it was just.
How do you? That's the thing that it is still befuddling to me that you could have the most pro-union administration since Franklin Delano Roosevelt. It's still crazy to me that the vice president can cast the tie-breaking vote that saved billions of dollars in pensions, 600,000 Teamsters, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna endorse, and you're like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, we talked about it on the last show. I was like shocked at some of the stuff, but even we talk about hearing the words right out of his mouth, like out of his own mouth, in his conversation not that long before the election with Elon Musk.
He said, if workers are striking, fire them.
And then you're going to tell me, well, that's not what he meant? If you are a union worker and you voted for, I'm like, you're just voting against your best interest.
He said you mentioned the overtime with United Airlines. He said, what did he say? Oh, I hate overtime.
I hate overtime.
I'm not paying people overtime.
But then on the other side of his mouth, he says, I don't think overtime should be taxed. Yeah, because you don't want there to be any overtime. We can just eliminate taxing on overtime as long as there is none, right? And so, that works.
And so, and that was just unbelievable to me that I would see individuals, and you're going, and that's why also it was driving me crazy. All these people would say, well, it's economic anxiety, and no, many of these folks were not voting for economic policies, because if you were voting for economic policies, there is no way in the world you can be a union worker saying I'm voting for economic policies, I'm voting for the working class, but I'm on. Ignore Harris, but vote for Trump. Those two things just don't go together.
Yeah. If you can figure it out, I'd love to know what the answer is, because I'm befuddled by it as well. I just, I guess the answer is that they just did a lot better job of scaring the shit out of people and messaged it. that some big bad immigrant was coming for your job. I don't know. I represent 160,000 workers. I don't see any illegals doing their jobs. Just it was a fear. And people, it's hard, I think, for a significant portion of our country to look outside of their backyard. And they don't even really leave their backyard because they can't. Because if they did any research, now I am fortunate because with my work I get to travel the world. And I serve on boards that are global boards. And I know how people view the economy of the U.S. And I know the impact of inflation and what happened through COVID to most other countries in the world. Like 200% inflation. Like, the U.S. dollar is a beast anywhere else you go in this world. And they envy, what our economy has done because we turned it around.
Yeah, how it recovered.
3 years. But let's be honest. The Democrats did a shit job of selling that. They did. I mean, I wish it would have been better, but it wasn't. And it was easy to, for Trump to get up there with a thing of Tic Tacs and say, you know what these things cost? Or a carton of eggs or whatever. And people bought into that shit.
Yeah, they bought into the eggs being high, but overlooked that there was an actual trial where they fixed the prices on eggs. And there was a literal trial. They were found guilty. It was kind of like, yeah, that's the little details. That's little details. So how do you prepare your members, though, for what is about to come down the pipeline? Because I don't know. Folks have to be prepared for absolute chaos and the concentrated targeting of unions by his folks.
Yeah, I mean, I look, we have to just keep messaging. But look, I hope I'm wrong. I mean, I hope that, I like the person that he put in as the new Secretary of Labor. She has a strong labor background. The Congresswoman out of Oregon, Lori Chavez DeRemer, she co-sponsored the PRO Act. So there's hopefully she will continue to be pro-labor. But that doesn't mean that every other appointment he makes, whether it's the National Labor Relations Board or the National Mediation Board or all these other things, couldn't go away. And it doesn't mean like every other person that he's put in there that she won't change her position and carry the company line. So it's a terrifying time, but we have to continue to do what we always do. Look, we had 4 years of it before, and we fought, and we fought hard, and we organized, and we kept battling, and we'll do what labor always does, which is fight for workers and let them know what we're doing and let them know what this administration is doing. And quite frankly, if he does all the things he promised, then we'll sing that loudly and proudly. I saw 4 years of the exact opposite of that. And I have a hard time believing that that's going to change. But man, I hope I'm wrong.
Obviously, people focus on national elections. And one of the things that I've been reminding folks that, look, there's an election every single year. Next year in Wisconsin, there's a Supreme Court race. That's huge. We've seen the attack on labor unions by the Republicans in Wisconsin, and things when Democrats took a 4-3 lead with the last Supreme Court seat, that completely changed composition of the court. I look at North Carolina. Allison Riggs won for re-election by 600 votes. The Republicans in North Carolina right now are trying to vacate her win to order a new election because they got 5-2. They want to be 6-1. So one of the things that I was reminding people that there are other places, there are state races, those Supreme Court races that are critical because those Supreme Courts have played a huge role in a lot of these labor decisions, not just, again, what's happening federal, but also what's happening on state level. Are y'all also involved in a lot of those races?
Absolutely, very much so. In fact, our director of legislation is here today, and we talk about that all the time. With from the bottom up, we have to win these other elections, whether it's local, state, or federal. But every one of those is hugely important now. And in 2 years, we'll be looking at the House and the Senate as well. And so we're already preparing for that. And looking for what the future could possibly be.
We were talking earlier, and you said one of the things that even labor had to learn is how to pound his chest to get people to understand what wins look like and successes, and not just sort of just hop from one thing to the next. And you mentioned how previous 4 years, how you really focused on organizing and mobilizing. And Lee Saunders talked about this and asked me, he said we had to go back to basics to really get folk to understand and go back and have real conversations direct with our members to understand why we matter. Is that what happened? Is that what y'all had to do?
Yeah, I mean, we completely revamped how we communicate and made in-person visits a priority. But it wasn't just that. It was that we had to change our whole communications. Like, we had to make sure that we had a presence on all the social networks, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or go down the list. Use every avenue, including things like snail mail and email.
So they have TikTok videos of you dancing?
Well, I mean, did somebody put that out again? Hey, listen, it was really good. I'm just saying, I was crushing it. But no, we're trying to do as much as we can, including being on your show. Like all of this is important. It's we take for granted that people will understand. They'll just know. Like, we just negotiated an amazing deal at American Airlines. Makes them top pay in the industry. They're nearly, for a fleet service worker, they're nearly making $40 an hour. All right? By the way, what are you making at Delta and JetBlue? But we don't. Where we fall short is that instead of going out and spending an enormous amount of time and just pounding our chest and going, look what we did, we go, we got a merger with Alaska and Hawaiian over here. And we gotta make sure that we take care of their security, and we gotta make sure that we negotiate a transition agreement that keeps them at the top of the industry. And so you just keep moving from issue to issue, and sometimes we take for granted. Mm-hmm. And so we've really focused on trying to make sure that the world of workers knows what we're doing, and we continue to do that. And I think, look, as much as we're doing that, as much as we're on the Roland Martin show, or we're putting information out, in the different social networks, when I go to a break room, I go to as many as I can. I have an office in D.C. I'm there twice a year. Like, I don't go to the office. When I have a downtime, I go out and I visit the members. And many of the members in this room will say, hey, look, he came to my station. He was out there and he talked to my people. I go out there not because I want to say, pat on the back. I go out there because I want to talk to them about what their issues are, but I also want to tell them about what we've been doing. And when I go to those break rooms and I say, hey, did you know that this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened, this happened? And unless it's on their carrier, they probably don't. And it's important that they do know, because what you do at United affects American. What you do at American affects Southwest. What you do at Southwest affects Delta and affects JetBlue. And each one of those, Alaska and Hawaiian and all these other carriers that we represent, every one of those, look, when COVID hit and United put a mandatory vaccination in, it was the rest of the airlines just jumped on the bandwagon. Because one airline, it doesn't just go when that kind of thing happens. It goes for everything. When United gets the best wages in the industry, American Airlines goes, look, for us to stay competitive,
right, we
got to get the best wages in the industry. And so we go in there and we fight for that. And we're not doing this parity bullshit either anymore. Where, hey, we want to make sure everybody's equal. That's fucking bullshit. All right? We should be building on our victories. When we made Alaska Airlines the highest paid in the airlines, then we did Southwest, then we did United, then we did American, and we'll do United again, and we'll keep building and building and building. But we have carriers like Delta and JetBlue that have inferior contracts, and they hurt that possibility. When you have the biggest airline, or one of the top 2 biggest airlines in the world at Delta Airlines, and they have an inadequate contract, it hurts our ability at the table. It hurts our ability to get the best, even more, for our workers at the other airlines we represent. And so what we do at Delta and what we're doing at JetBlue matters to everybody that's on another carrier in this room. And that's why getting that message to each of them, whether it's in a break room or it's through your show or other avenues, we got to take advantage of all of it, every chance we get. So keep inviting me back, because I'll keep coming back.
All right. Gonna go to a break, come back, we'll chat with some of these workers as well. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered on the Blackstar Network. Don't forget to support the work that we do. Join our Bring the Funk fan club. Your dollars make it possible to travel all across the country doing shows like this. If you want to support us via Cash App, don't forget to use this QR code Stripe. Tell your Cash App lost their mind, changed their damn rules, got rid of all of our accounts. But we figured a way around that, so we use the QR code. You can still do Cash App. Also, my folks who don't trust any of this stuff, they still send checks and money orders. They do. I get about 30 a week, and they still cash the same. P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C., 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Don't forget, download the Blackstar Network app, Apple phone, Android phone, Apple TV, Android TV, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Be sure to get a copy of my book, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available, bookstores nationwide. That is the name of the book, y'all, seriously. And don't forget, y'all, our new shirts are out. I'm going to wear it probably on the show tomorrow. Y'all see the shirt right there. Don't blame me. I voted for the black woman. So y'all go to RolandMartin.creator-spring. RolandMartin.creator-spring.com. Yeah, y'all, that's a real shirt. All right, I'll be right back.
I'll be ordering mine. Thank you, brother.
All right, let's see.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the Gap and Getting Wealthy, only on Blackstar Network.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you helped build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds. As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, Dave.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Blackstar Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Blackstar Network.
Hey, what's up? It's Sammy Roman.
Hey, it's John Murray, the executive producer of the new Sherry Shepherd Talk Show.
It's me, Sherry Shepherd, and you know what you're watching, Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Delta and JetBlue workers are fighting for a voice at work. These airline workers deserve a fair shot at a better future. I support them as they seek to join with the IAM. By staying neutral, Delta and JetBlue can show they respect their employees and their right to organize.
All right, folks, welcome back to Roland Martin Unfiltered, the Blackstar Network, here at TWA Hotel at JFK Airport. Joining us right now, three IAM union members, Faisal Silwani with United Airlines, Derek Monk with American Airlines, and Nina Caldwell. She is with Southwest Airlines. How y'all doing?
Wonderful.
All right. So, Nina, I'll start with you. So, for the person out there who doesn't understand, they don't work for an airline, they're part of a union, why does that matter?
Being part of a union matters because it affects your quality of life. When we say quality of life, most people think of pay, but it also affects the fact that you have respect, dignity, equality, equity, a voice at the table, and it affects our safety because we all want to come to work and leave the same way.
Now, how long have you been with Southwest, and what's your job there?
I am a customer service agent at Southwest Airlines, and I've been there 33 years.
All right. So, are you in person? Are you on the phone? Which one of the areas you get cussed out at? Which one?
I'm in person. I throw bags, I do baggage service, I work the ticket counter, I work the gates, and yes, I get cussed out in all of those places.
So when they throw a temper tantrum, how do you respond to that? Do you just stand there and look at them like, look at this fool, they not gonna make this flight? So how do you deal with them crazies?
I think as public servants, because that's what we are, we all have learned our airline smile. And I think in my mind those very things you said, but I don't verbalize it.
You don't think you just hit that button like, oop, that seat just disappeared?
I wish.
Derek, what do you do?
I'm a fleet service agent.
All right, what does that mean?
Well, we take the bags, we load them onto the planes, and we take them from plane to plane, make sure our customers get them.
Oh, so my golf club's getting loaded.
Absolutely.
No, it's funny. See, I
heard you talking about those.
See, there you go. Hey, see, listen, I've posted enough. I think I've hit every airline. So no matter when I fly, they like, look, your golf bags are just fine. And we check. Your clubs will not get broken. It's all
absolutely oversized belt.
So. Same thing. So for you, what has it meant being able to be part of a brotherhood or sisterhood and not just having to, fight for wages and things like that on your own, but being a part of a collective?
Well, you can do more, with fists than you can do with one finger. And so, we are stronger collectively than we are by ourselves. And so being a part of the union, as Nina said, helps with the quality of life and not just the pay, but the things that give you respect. I'm also on our grievance committee, which means I spend most of my time fighting with the company when our members are disciplined, wrongfully. And we have the opportunity to go in and fight with the company and, either take care of the discipline, or if they're terminated, we help get their jobs back. Those are all the things that we have collectively bargained.
Faisal?
I'm a ramp service employee. I love it. Bags don't.
How long you been doing it?
18 years. 18 years. Love it. The bags don't talk back. But yeah. But let me tell you,
smart bags.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, you've probably heard that expression of the airport life, right? You work crazy hours, having to do doubles, sometimes not going home for 2 days, especially when you call in those snowstorms. So quality of life has always been a big topic for me. Being on the grievance committee and being the frontline voice for the members is very impactful. And actually, I'm currently on the negotiating team for United. It's so powerful, so important to have a voice at that table, right? Because I had the opportunity to sit across what they call their leadership, which is just a bunch of managers, and how disconnected they are from their frontline employees and how they don't care, right? So, like for us over at United, anytime you go to see a member of management, the first thing they ask you is, what's your employee number? That's all you are to them, an employee number, right? So it's so powerful, so impactful to have a voice at that table and show the company the true examples of what we experience out there.
So for all three of you, I'm sure you've encountered folks who've resisted being in the union. What is that conversation like? What do you say to them?
Well, I like to use my own experiences because when I started 18 years ago, I started prior to the merger with Continental. So obviously we were non-unionized. And I was a victim of being non-unionized, right? Mm-hmm. So we did unionize and we did merge, but I didn't have job protection as far as where I came from. I started at the cargo operation, and I was faced with outsourcing. I have a company come and tell me after 7 years, hey, by the way, we're going to get rid of your job, but if you want, you can work for the vendor for half the pay and no benefits. So it's sometimes those personal experiences, explaining it to a member who might not agree or might not be 100% behind the union, gives them a firsthand of how important it is to have a union. Luckily, the language that we did have allowed me to come up to the ramp, and those type of experiences help those members understand why it's so important to have a union.
Yeah, I agree with that. We have a lot of members who they don't understand, what the union has won for them. They don't understand that it was the union that created the 40-hour work week. They don't understand that it's the union that makes sure they have paid holidays. They don't understand that it's the union, that is able to set up meetings, so that they can have a better work environment and safer working vehicles and things like that. So they don't understand those things. And so those are the things that we try to educate them, especially, when we get new hires or people who just, don't seem to care. We try to do our best to educate them up.
Until they get in trouble.
Yeah, until they get in trouble. Oh, absolutely.
And then you everybody's best friend.
Yeah.
Nina?
I'm a piggyback on the gentleman. Education is the key. We don't live in the age anymore where labor is at the forefront because kids are having kids. So they don't teach their families about labor, the labor movement. So when they come to work and they get a union job, they're not familiar about the history of the labor movement. And so us old heads, we have to take the time.
We call them OGs.
OGs.
We say old heads.
Yes.
OGs.
OGs. We have to take the time to pull our younger members aside and explain to them the benefits of being a part of a labor movement and the history. Because how can you be a part of something if you don't know what it's about?
So when you face resistance, how do you deal with it?
Resistance?
Yeah.
A lot of times, I'll tell our members, look, you can do two things. You can curse the darkness, or you can light a candle. And so I asked them, get involved. There's a man in the audience right now, Gil Simmons, who is the reason why I'm sitting in this chair right now. Because 18 years ago, I got in a situation where it wasn't my fault. He came to my rescue and asked me to get involved, and that's why I'm sitting here right now.
Who's Gil?
That's Gil right there.
All right, stand up, Gil. He gave you a shout out. There you go.
So he asked me to get involved, and I got involved so that what happened to me wouldn't happen to others. And so, you know, I always say, listen, you can talk about it, you can curse the darkness, or you can light a candle. Let's see what you can do. Bring your skills, bring your talents. Let's see what you can do. Help the union, because you are the union.
Well, like the sister mentioned before, is that education, right? I like to compare our management to our unionized workers, right? So, you know, we all hate that Mando language, right? That Mando word. I don't want to stay past my shift. So I like to educate them. See, that's the perfect example. We're only required to stay 4 hours. Your supervisor, they might be here till tomorrow. So I think that education shows them how important it is to have that contract, those rights, and it just opens up their eyes to, wow, how different things could be if we didn't have that contract. And that resistance tends to step back a little bit once you educate them.
Well, you talked about younger workers. Are you seeing them embrace what you're laying out and understand that their job is to continue this forward? That it's not going to be here just because. You actually have to do some work to keep this thing going, keep it alive.
Absolutely. We have a young workers movement, and so what I am finding is that they're more engaged, that they want to make the change in this union. So they come with ideas, fresh ideas, to move us forward. So we want to do everything we possibly can to educate them, to keep them engaged, because they are our future. I'm not going to be at Southwest forever, but I need someone to also leave my legacy to continue my legacy.
All right. Now, and Faisal, I want to go back to what you said. So you were, when they had the merger, so you've experienced both worlds, not being a part of one and being a part of the IAM. What was the biggest difference?
Favoritism. I can't tell you how many times I would see them go to their buddies. Just because you're my friend, you're getting the overtime next. Or just because you're my buddy, you're getting a better shift than everybody else.
That's what happened when you were not...
When we were non-union.
Got it.
You understand? Or how one individual will be disciplined different than somebody else just because sometimes the color of their skin. And it was very disheartening to see that. So once we merged, once that union got in, man, what a difference. What a difference. Yeah.
All right, then. Well, look, we appreciate all three of you sharing your story. What's that airline smile again? So y'all act the fool, y'all see that smile, y'all know what's coming next. I'm just saying. I appreciate it. Thanks so much. All right, y'all. We're going to continue the conversation on the other side in our second hour. Folks, you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered right here on the Blackstar Network. Back in a moment.
Now streaming on the Blackstar Network.
I had been trying to get a record deal for a long time. You know, when I finally got signed to the Motown record label in 2003, I was 34, 35 years old. And up until that time, I had been trying to get record deals the traditional way. You know, you record your demo, you record your music, and you send it, you know, to the record labels, or maybe somebody, a friend of a friend, knows somebody that works for, you know, the record label. And really, chemistry was, that was my last-ditch effort at being in the music business.
How long have you been trying?
I've been trying since I was a teenager. Wow. And you know. And I'm grateful that it didn't. I'm grateful that it happened when it happened, because I wasn't prepared, you know, as a teenager to embrace all that comes with a career in the music industry.
What's up, y'all? Look, Fanbase is more than a platform. It's a movement to empower creators, offering a unique opportunity for everyday people to invest in Black-owned tech, infrastructure, and help shape the future of social media. Investing in technology is essential for creating long-term wealth and influence in the digital age. The Black community must not only consume tech, we must own it.
Discover how equity crowdfunding can serve as a powerful tool for funding Black businesses, allowing entrepreneurs to raise capital directly through their community through the Jobs Act.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Blackstar Network for a Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Blackstar Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
When you talk about blackness and what happens in Black culture, covering these things that matter to us, speaking to our issues and concerns.
This is a genuine people-powered movement.
There's a lot of stuff that we're not getting. You get it, and you spread the word.
We wish to plead our own cause. Too long have others spoken for us. We cannot tell our own story if we can't pay for it. This is about covering us. Invest in Black-owned media. Your dollars matter. We don't have to keep asking them to cover our stuff. So please support us in what we do, folks. We want to hit 2,000 people, $50 this month, raise $100,000. We're behind $100,000, so we want to hit that. Y'all money makes this possible. Checks and money orders go to P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037-0196. PayPal is R Martin Unfiltered. Venmo is RM Unfiltered. Zelle is Roland at RolandSMartin.com.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as Black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the gap and getting wealthy, only on Blackstar Network.
Blackstar Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Blackstar Network and Black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be Black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home. You dig?
Pull up a chair, take your seat. The Black Tape with me, Dr. Greg Carr, here on the Blackstar Network. Every week, we'll take a deeper dive into the world we're living in. Join the conversation only on the Blackstar Network.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds. As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shootings.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance. We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate Black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
Russell L. Honoré, Lieutenant General, United States Army, retired, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
Welcome back to the TWA Hotel, JFK Airport. We, of course, here with IAM and a lot of work that they're doing when it comes to unionizing airport workers across the country. We're joined by three right now. Interesting mix of the panel right here. One, this will get me. So Dan McCurdy is Delta Airlines rent worker out of Minneapolis. Okay, not union. But David Pink, USW union member at Delta from Montreal. They are union. And then Rich Jarvis, grounds op geo, JetBlue in Boston, not union. So I got to start with you. How in the hell are you Delta and y'all unionized, but he's Delta and not?
Well, I'll tell you, Roland, after the merger with Northwest Airlines, what was it, 2008, I believe? So we had one unionized group of employees and another group that wasn't. That was Delta. Northwest Airlines, we had a collective bargaining agreement. In that agreement, we had a no outsource clause in our contract, which still exists today. Article 2D, Delta can't outsource our jobs. That's in our collective agreement. So we're now into our third deal with Delta. We just negotiated a deal that makes us the highest paid in the industry in Canada.
Nice. And that was all because of the Northwest deal.
No, this is the third deal since the merger.
No, I'm saying is initially.
Yeah,
initially, Northwest was unionized, and then when there was a merger, they had to accept the terms of that deal.
Exactly. So the Delta group got furloughed. The Northwest were the surviving group for the airline.
Wow. How many workers?
We're back up to 300 now, at least 300 in the country under the USW banner. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And so I'm sure, Dan, you're like, damn. They got it good.
They do got it good. And so I've been with the company 26 years, and I'm pre-merger Northwest as well. So I've been represented by the IAM before. So about approximately half my time has been as an IAM member, and then the second half of my career as a Delta employee unrepresented. So, and the difference between the Canadian workers and ourselves is the laws here in the United States say that we have to organize system-wide across the United States. So if we want to gain union representation under the Railway Labor Act, we have to organize all 45 cities.
So not just locally, all cities?
All 45. I mean, that's one of the biggest hurdles that we have, is that it's such a huge organizing drive. There's about 19,000 Delta employees, and it's hard. And these cards, they expire after 1 year. And not every employee is paying exact attention to everything that's going on at work. So they don't realize that their card expires. Right now, today, if all of the cards were valid, we could file for an election tomorrow. That's how much support that we have for unionization at Delta. And with that said, and I'm going to throw out some numbers, I hope this is okay, but we've got like 2,000 cards that are expired because employees don't necessarily know that their card has expired. It's been longer than 1 year. So, and it's interesting.
So how do they know?
We've got to find them and let them know. I mean, there's no way. That's part of the.
Like, is it digitized? Is it like, do you know exactly who's expired?
Well, the IAM does. So union leaders can contact. You know, we have good communication back and forth. But we've got, you know, employees in all 45 stations that have expired cards. So we've got to track them down and get them to re-sign. And it's interesting because you'll have employees, like they'll go on social media, you know, like, what's taking the IAM so long to get us to an election? What's taking so long? And then I'll call up, hey, I see that he's wondering what's taking us so long. Can you check to see if he signed a card? Well, he signed a card, but it expired like 3 months ago. So, and I'm not complaining towards that employee, but that's the hurdle that we have. Is
why not?
They don't even, because they don't necessarily, not everybody's as involved as us.
But he went to talk shit.
Yeah. Well, and if I give him credit though, he signed a union authorization card. He wants it. He just doesn't know the intricate rules that his card expires after.
So did you send a DM?
So he got a DM and said, hey man, that's part of the problem.
I'm just checking like.
No, that's a.
I'm King Petty. I'd be like, cause your ass ain't renew your card. But
yeah, no, I mean the more hands that we have collecting cards and letting people know that their cards are expired, that's how we get to an election. There's not a specific date that we're shooting for. We need to get 2,000 cards that have expired back up to date. And we've been collecting every week. We collect like 200. Our goal has been 200 a week. We've been collecting like 200, 225, 250 every week. But Delta knows this is a game to them. This is a game to keep unionization out. And what they do is, like we were hoping to file for an election in November. So they're going to play the game. Let's stop them. They hear our game plan. So they've been hiring people. They've been hiring people left and right. We have training classes in Minneapolis on day shift, about a dozen, 15, 17 every single day on morning shift. Same thing on night shift. And at the exact same time that they're hiring people, they've also reduced a lot of 40-hour lines down to 30-hour lines. So you need more people. But then, at the same time as that, they're also, I just got an email today that said, hey, if you want any time off in December, let us know, and we'll try to approve it. So they're giving time off to employees as well. So what they're doing is they're growing the base number of employees that we need to collect cards to make it more difficult. So the more that they know our game plan, the more that they're just trying to do union avoidance and stop us from.
So when they hire 17, somebody wouldn't have to do it, saying, I mean, like if you know they're training them, I mean, how do you then combat that? Do you have someone who's waiting for the new folks to come on? I was like, step on over here.
Yeah, well, the fortunate part for us is that they wear yellow vests, so they're easily recognizable. And we go have a conversation pretty early to let them understand that right now we trail the industry in pretty much every category except for profit sharing. We trail in base pay, we trail in vacation pay, we trail in benefits, we trail in work rules. We should be leading the industry in absolutely every category. We make 40% of the airline's profits at Delta alone. There is absolutely no reason that we should be left behind. And no disrespect to any of the other airlines out there as well. When we get to a union contract, we're going to be negotiating from a different standpoint than what the other airlines have been able to, because we make so much profit. This airline has the ability to take care of every employee from head to toe. They're just choosing not to do it. So with the union, we can do that.
All right, Jim, what's happening at JetBlue?
Well, we went to a vote 2 years ago, and JetBlue came around to all the break rooms system-wide and scared the living shit out of everybody.
How?
They told all the workers that they would lose roster apps, and that's our ability to, pick up shifts, trade shifts. It's how all your scheduling is done for your work week for the next month, several months. Then they also told them that they would lose their flight benefits. They basically absolutely scared the living daylights out of them.
So they literally just said it.
Right out in the break room. And then they also told them that you could lose everything else. Whatever your pay is now, you could go down to minimum wage. You could lose everything. I was actually cracking jokes saying, yeah, they could come to your house too and just basically take your Christmas gifts. You're going to get nothing. But then on the same hand, they went around to all the break rooms and they asked everybody to give them one more chance. Give us a year to fix this. And we went to the vote 2 years ago in February and we lost. I went back to work on the ramp.
What was the vote? What was the percentage? How much you lose by?
It was ugly. It wasn't pretty. I was there. It was a bitter pill. It was 460 to, I believe, almost 900. Okay. But we had all the cards. We had everything in place. And I'll tell you, the numbers were reversed. And we were shocked. And a lot of people that sign cards, they're like, Jarvis, I'm thinking, you know, maybe we'll give them another chance. I'm like, I don't know how that's going to work out for you. A lot of people that didn't want the union, a lot of those people wound up getting fired for very minor, petty things. A lot of the management that promised to fix everything, this, that, the other thing, they were out the door too. JetBlue just basically got rid of a lot of people. A lot of people quit. As bad as Delta is non-union, a lot of people leave JetBlue to go there. We're far worse with the benefits. And the money is, we're probably several dollars an hour lower, but the benefits are far worse at JetBlue. And they speak to everybody about the direct relationship between, you know, you can come in the office and talk to us at any time. Well, only a fool would do that. I mean, you know what I mean? It's like...
First of all, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, we're going to talk about you cleaning out your locker first. You know, that's what basically, you know, when they say go to HR, you know, I'll go to HR. I'm like, HR is not on your side, guys. It's not set up by the company.
They said give us a year. What happened after a year?
Things got far worse. It went from bad to worse. It was like an absentee landlord was running the place, and people were complaining, and I actually told some of them, this is what you wanted. You signed up for this. I know who pretty much wanted it and didn't, and, well, guess what? You got what you wanted.
You sound like when I'm preparing to tell all the people who voted for Trump, I'm like, don't come.
Yeah, hey, listen.
Like, what was my man in the video? No, it's above me now. It's above. Right. I mean, people, they want to complain after the fact, but they could have done something about it.
Listen, you want pepperoni on your pizza? Don't complain when you got pepperoni on your pizza. That's all I'm telling you. And then a lot of the people like, and this is what happened. A lot of the people, I haven't asked anybody for a union card in Boston. We have about 130. They're coming to me. When the time comes, when I'm going to push them, then, but we have such a turnover problem. Mm-hmm. It's every day, every week is training day. It's in Boston. For a station that has about 550 to, 580 people working ground ops in Boston, we're on pace to hire approximately 500 people this year alone, this calendar year. It's constant. The bottom, almost 50 to 60% is in and out the door.
Man.
Yeah, and that brings up a safety issue because
inexperienced folks haven't been trained properly. It's
not the same as driving a car when you're driving the tug with the luggage carts behind you. You don't realize you have 4 carts, then you run somebody over.
The reason I think listening to all three of you talk, again, for the average person, they're getting on planes, they're just flying, they pay no attention to any of this, I don't know any of this sort of stuff. But this also just simply speaks to how someone wants to be able to raise a family, take care of their family, and when you talk about basic things like benefits, and when you talk about protection, when you talk about overtime, I mean, I think a lot of people just take that kind of stuff for granted without understanding that you could be in a place where it's right to work, you do it yourself, but it's a lot different when you are operating as a part of collective. And again, in your case, seeing the best of both sides of it has to be also, very difficult to explain to folks what it feels like.
Just the one disappointing thing is that at Northwest, during those years that I was employed with them before the merger, that was before consolidation, obviously. So these airlines were losing a ton of money. So negotiations, there were no negotiations. They were coming after us like trying to take money from us, and we were fighting them off. And at Delta at the same time, they're not union. They don't get to hear both sides of the story. They're willing. They were forced to give stuff back straight away, but they're willing because they don't really, times are tough, whatever else. We fought them off for 3 years. We didn't take concessions for 3 years, and we still went into bankruptcy on the exact same day. So we weren't the problem. So, I don't know exactly where I was going with that, but.
I think. No, go ahead.
Yeah, if I could just say one thing, okay, because.
You can say a couple of things. It's all good. We got time.
There's been a lot of negativity here, but a relationship between a collective and a company doesn't have to be negative. What I can tell you from my side is our relationship with the airline is absolutely, fundamentally super strong, okay? we came.
But why?
Mutual respect, negotiating in good faith. It just is.
But is it also that the airline understands that, when you say mutual respect, that first of all, they can't make money, they can't be on time, they can't have high customer service unless you treat the folks who work for you well. And if you take care of them, they're going to take care of you.
Absolutely. And that's exactly right. You take care of the employee, and the employee takes care of the customer. And what I can tell you is I have nothing negative to say about my jurisdiction working for Delta Airlines. Okay, we have a very strong relationship. To give you a little story, I remember in Atlanta, I was on the negotiating committee. There was a USW staffer that was coming in to sit on the negotiations, replacing someone who was there for the following negotiations. And we came in that morning, and we came into the boardroom. We met the Delta folks and grabbed their breakfast and coffee and exchanged pleasantries. And then we went up to our boardroom, and Derek said, "What's with all the hugging?" Okay? So, it's not to say that we haven't been at loggerheads, but in the end, it's a very strong relationship.
You damn Canadians.
Yeah.
It's interesting to hear him say that, because on the anti-union propaganda side of it, they're telling us that it's going to destroy the relationship, that it's going to make things horrible, that it's going to be combative every single day. And you're listening to another Delta airline employee working with the same company that's doing negotiations, and it's going great. They're getting along. They're hugging like too much, So it doesn't have to be. Like, if they want to choose that, like, that's not what we want to choose either. We want to go to work, and we just want that, you said, mutual respect. And that's what this is all about. We want mutual respect.
And it's not, and it's not just about remuneration. It's about work rules, other benefits, everything from overtime equalization to. We just negotiated a clause. When you have IROPs in this business, sometimes you're stuck in your workplace for a considerable amount of time. Now, anything over 12 hours, you're getting double time. As an example, we've maintained a defined benefit pension plan where the airline pays our contributions. That's been maintained. And the last negotiations, we even negotiated a supplementary plan where we put in 2 and they contribute 2. So, it was a fantastic agreement, and health and safety has been brought up. I'm also a health and safety rep. I have nothing bad to say. I sit on the committee. I chair those meetings. There are meetings as per the Canada Labour Code. And, I've never had to go to corrective action. We work in tandem. We work together. We're a very safe company, in my jurisdiction anyway. I can tell you that. Very safe. And the airline does everything it can to give us the tools we need.
Y'all do any hugging, Rich?
No. I don't know about the rest of the stations with JetBlue.
Rich, you need a hug, Rich?
I'll throw you one. Come here.
There you go.
Listen, the JetBlue pilots went union, and their relationship was not destroyed. There was not one fist fight. They weren't flipping desks. They get along fine with management. Now, JetBlue was telling everybody, give us a chance, give us a chance. And then one of the big things, one of the biggest problems in Boston is when you get MSE, mandatory shift extension. They implemented this thing. They said, all right, from now on, we'll give you 2 hours notice, and it won't be longer than an hour, and we're going to do it fairly. Well, the fairly thing, that clearly flew out the window. They're letting you know 30 minutes before the end of your shift instead of 2 hours, and they're not doing it in the order of seniority. And then there's no recourse when they do it to them because there's no union. They made these rules, and they said, look, at least you have, this is in writing. Well, you take that piece of paper and you go bring that up to HR, and they're going to get right back to you. But don't wait. because they're not coming back anytime soon. And that's just the way it is. And then all the people, I sit and work and I listen to it and they're like, well, then the next question, Jarvis, when's the union coming back? I go, we'll be back in 15 minutes. I go, you didn't want to sign a card a couple years ago. Now you want to sign a card? And but you have to, the hard part is educating them. And there's a lot of young, and then you have to, some of them are brainwashed because when JetBlue hires them down in Orlando, as they're training them, they scrub their brain a little and they tell them how good. No, they do. They do. They tell them how good JetBlue's going to look out for them. We call it, they drink the blue juice. It's like Jim Jones giving the lemonade years ago.
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, killing 1,000 people, right? Well, they have them drinking the blue juice, and it's like, but no, the company obviously doesn't have your best interest in mind. They're there, but a lot of the managers and supervisors, they just turned down being managers and supervisors, especially in Boston, because they went back to work on the ramp as regulars because they got lied to, too, by upper management. And they really did. They were better off they made more money working on the ramp because they were screwing the supervisors. And that's why the whole system, especially in Boston, it's not only sideways, but it's upside down. It's just, the whole thing is wrong.
See, the thing that jumps out at me, and this is, it's really interesting when you look at, again, culture and mindset in this country. And the reality is, when you look at the places, you take a Chick-fil-A, you take some of these other companies, when you look at these employee surveys, companies that typically take care of employees, treat them with respect and dignity, provide benefits, lowest turnover, least drama, highly profitable. And but when you look at what JetBlue tried to merge, what was it? One of those
Spirit.
Tried to merge with Spirit. And when you look at a lot of these companies and they're having difficulty making money, things along those lines. And when your relationship is crap with employees, they're not trying to help you out. They're like, nah, the hell with you, because you haven't treated me well. And so when you listen to that relationship, or even some of the other negotiations that have taken place, is that when you say to the folks at your shop, guys, there is another way?
Well, I was assigned, because JetBlue had a deal with American Airlines, a code share. I was assigned to go down to American Airlines a little over a year ago, and I had to go in their office, and they showed me on their computer how to use their computer system so I could track the JetBlue bags, and they had a guy going to us, so we did the bag swap. And it amazed me. My first day in there, their first assignment at American Airlines is when they're getting their lunch break. I went back over to my break room. I told everybody, they didn't believe me. I said, tomorrow I'll take you down there. I said, the first thing that they get is their lunch break assigned. At JetBlue, there was no lunch break assigned in Boston. Some days you didn't get a lunch break, and then, well, you got plenty of downtime. Or you might get a lunch break 8 minutes into your shift, or the last 30 minutes of your shift. Well, that's the people on the ramp. The guys in the bag room, guys like me, I do the transfer bags. But the people working the ramp, they're probably not, 85, 90% of the time, they're not getting a lunch break in the middle of their shift. They might get a shot at the vending machine or the bathroom, but they're going to have to leave their team shorthanded. But they're not sitting down heating something up at the prime of the night. And then a lot of the times, when somebody's already picked up a shift and they're doing a double, and they're working the next morning, now it's 9 o'clock at night, they'll come out and tell them that they have to stay another 4 hours. So the guy's going to be working, 23 hours out of the last 26 hours. And that's clearly not even legal, but no, you got to do it. It's not our fault you picked up those hours. Well, it's your fault you're keeping me here, because it's run short. We're short-staffed. And then as soon as there's a little weather, flights are delayed. Next thing you know, you need more bodies, because you skeleton crew at night. Now your mandatory shift extension and, 40 people.
So do you not think, because of 2 years ago, do you think that JetBlue workers, well, the ones who actually are still there,
right,
are far more motivated to turn those cars in and get it done this time?
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, definitely. But there's still there's a very, very small percentage that are I think they've been lobotomized between me and you. They're not coming around. There's no.
That blue juice is taking total effect.
Yeah, you could listen. They could get run over by a plane and they'd be fine with it. They don't. JetBlue has their back. They really believe that.
Wow. You think you want to jump in?
Well, the one thing that we hear over and over is quality of life work rules. We just went through, like talking about, first of all, the lunches. At the unionized carriers, in their contracts, they've got it written in their contract that you get your lunch between the 3rd and the 5th hour.
It says, yeah, it's 4 hours. If you go past 5, you can file that you're going to be paid for that lunch if you don't take it within 5 hours into your shift.
Yep.
Damn Canadians. That's those Canadians.
Yeah, and the contracts at United and American and the other ones here in the United States, they have it as well. And some of the rules might be a little bit different, but you're not getting your lunch at the very beginning or the very end. And if you do, there's just a little show of respect. It's not going to break the bank that says thank you for taking your lunch at an inopportune time. The other part is we just go through the holidays and we watch, like United. I know their contract. I was talking to a guy that works for United. For our holidays, obviously we fly on holidays as well. So there's 10 holidays. At Delta, you can either float the holidays throughout the year for some other day, or you can get paid double time on that day if you choose to work it. At United, you can choose to float that day throughout the rest of the year, or you can choose to work it, but you get paid double time and a half. Like there's no reason that we have these work rules that lag the rest of the industry. And part of the problem is that our coworkers just don't know all these benefits that the union contracts gain them. It feels like on holidays, like, you know how you go to a slot machine and you hit the bonus and it just keeps racking up money? Like that's what the union contracts are doing with their work rules that they mention in there to get extra pay. And at Delta, we're busy sticking the quarter in and pulling the trigger one time, getting one spin out of the deal. So it's all these shows of respect. It's the quality of life. It's having everything that's defined that you can get, look at a book and see exactly what's going to take place. That's worth maybe not a dollar amount, but it's worth a lot in security, peace of mind.
If there's one through line, this show, previous show, and my goodness, even when I talk about all the stuff we did during this election, it's just the number of people, you hear the phrase, when you don't know, you don't know. And it just requires a constant state of education for folks to understand that they're missing on a lot of stuff. And if they would just listen, get educated, read, and understand, then a lot of the complaints, there's a way to fix those issues. Except in Canada, y'all are great. Management probably brings y'all birthday cakes.
Yeah!
I mean, and that is part of the problem, though, is that they do get educated, but they get educated from our corporate. Like Delta has messaging for our employees every day, so they only hear one side of it. And the good part about a unionized workforce, you're going to hear the corporate, whatever they have to say, but you also get to hear a balanced response to it, where the IAM members get to come into the job and explain to you, listen, this is maybe why it's not so good, and you should think about this other way. So people, they do want to be informed, but when you only get information from one source.
What is the weirdest, as I was saying earlier, the number of people who literally are fine with the CEO making $10,000 an hour, but they act a fool when a worker says, can we get paid $10 an hour? I can apply this. I mean, how many fans out there will bitch and moan that their favorite NFL player is holding out for better contract, and they're like, man, get back on the field. The owner's a billionaire.
Yeah.
And this is, I had folks with Black Census Lab. This was a few months ago. They had their survey. They did a survey, 211,000 African Americans. And in their survey, a majority of them were against raising corporate taxes because the company said, oh, they raise corporate taxes, y'all get laid off. When they're going to lay you off anyway, whether they like it or not. But it is the number of people who literally will take the side of management or corporate leaders over their own well-being, and then when layoffs come, then they're one of the folks and they go, what the hell? Well, do you see what you did? And it's just it's just a hard thing, I think, to get people to understand that.
If I could point out, Roland, you mentioned, if I could just point out, you mentioned layoff, furloughed. That's also in our deal. So you're furloughed with our collective agreement. You have 25 years service, you'll be paid up to 1,000 hours. 1,000 hours paid. Now, during the pandemic, whoever would have thought that that clause would have come to use to that extent. But once again, it goes to show you what a collective bargaining agreement
Oh,
can
listen,
do.
I need you, listen, my dad worked for Amtrak for 25 years. They got furloughed in Houston. He got paid for 7 years.
Wow. Yeah, that's
yeah, so I like, he was at the crib every day. Now that kind of got on our nerves. Because he watched the damn news all day long. 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. to noon, to 4 to 5 to 6 to 9 p.m. to 10 o'clock, and then the damn rebroadcast. Yes. Then when one station started 7 p.m. newscast, he was watching that. I was like, bruh, seriously. And then he questioned why I decided to go on the news. I was like, all that damn news I had to watch. But again, but the deal they had, and there were raises in it. It was a 7-year furlough.
Wow.
Right. And so, and just, Jim like, damn. Yes.
Are they hiring?
That's what happened. So, but again, that's what happened. But that was a negotiated deal. And to your particular point.
Yeah.
How do you see the next phase for you? You talked about, again, 2 years ago. Now folks are coming to you with their cards. How far away do you think you are from being able to get to the point where to call the election?
I don't know, James. Is that classified? Can I? With a little bit of pressure on the gas pedal, we're probably just 2 months away.
But your guys are highly motivated. Your men and women are highly motivated.
Yeah, they're highly motivated. It's not going to take a lot considering their treatment. So it's, but again, there's going to require significant footwork.
Right.
Because you're going to have to talk to, because a lot of the new people will be like, oh, gee, I don't know. Let me talk to someone. When I was helping out with the Delta campaign, one guy, he said, let me ask my manager about this. I'm like, no, guy, don't. That's the wrong, that's the wrong answer.
You're like, no, here's a list of fired workers you can call.
So I gave him information, and I believe we eventually got his card. But there's a tremendous amount of educating. Unfortunately, this goes back to the school system and whatnot, and unions haven't been promoted the way they were when I was growing up. Mm-hmm. Just like not that long ago, obviously, because I'm young.
David, I just got an email from one of your members. He said, you forgot to mention the fruit baskets. David, I'm just kidding. Any final thoughts? Anything?
If I could just say, the other thing about collectives, for me, the United Steelworkers has been a great experience in my life. It's a national local. It's many disciplines. I've met so many great people that are all really out for the same thing, a quality of life for our brothers. And I've really had some great relationships. And it's been really a rewarding experience for me to be a part of the United Steelworkers. So there's that element too. Unions are have such a great cause, and there's so many great people within them. I've met so many great people. I've met a lot of great people here at the IAM just today. So keep it up,
And they're all trying to get their passports to go to Canada.
Yeah. I would just like to do a call for action from my fellow Delta employees. We have enough support to get us to an election. And we do the math. We need 2,000 cards. That sounds like a lot of people we need to get re-signed. But we've been getting 200, 225, 250 every single week. So don't sit there and do the math and go, man, that's 10 weeks so we can get to an election, because you can't put a date on it. You can't sit there and say that we're going to have an election on this date and then just wait for a bus to get there. Let's double it. Let's triple it. Like, if we have more hands involved, we can get to it sooner. So I just would ask, if you are unsure if your card is valid, make absolutely certain that it's on file and that it's up to date.
All right.
And get involved.
And we'll close this out. David and Dan, I think y'all owe Jim a hug.
I'm giving free hugs.
Folks, we'll be right back on the Blackstar Network. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Isaac Hayes III, founder and CEO of Fanbase. Fanbase is a free-to-download, free-to-use, next-generation social media platform that allows anyone to have followers and subscribers on the same page. Fanbase was built through investment dollars from equity crowdfunding from the Jobs Act. People just like you help build Fanbase, and we're looking for more people to help build Fanbase. We are currently raising $17 million in a Regulation A crowdfund on Start Engine. We've already crossed $2.1 million, but we're looking to raise more capital from people just like you that deserve the opportunity to invest in early-stage startups without having to be accredited investors. So right now, I'd like you to go to startengine.com/fanbase and invest. The minimum to invest is $399. That gets you 60 shares of stock in Fanbase right now, today. And then use Fanbase to connect with friends, grow your audience, and be you without limits.
Hatred on the streets, a horrific scene, a white nationalist rally that descended into deadly violence.
White people are losing their damn minds. As an angry pro-Trump mob storms the U.S. Capitol, we've seen shooting.
We're about to see the rise of what I call white minority resistance.
We have seen white folks in this country who simply cannot tolerate black folks voting.
I think what we're seeing is the inevitable result of violent denial.
This is part of American history. Every time that people of color have made progress, whether real or symbolic, there has been what Carol Anderson at Emory University calls white rage as a backlash.
This is the rise of the Proud Boys and the Boogaloo Boys. America, there's going to be more of this.
Here's all the Proud Boys, guys.
This country is getting increasingly racist in its behaviors and its attitudes because of the fear of white people.
The fear that they're taking our jobs, they're taking our resources, they're taking our women. This is white fear.
On the next Get Wealthy with me, Deborah Owens, America's Wealth Coach, Black Americans have 1/10 the wealth of their white counterparts. But how did we get here? It's a huge gap. Well, that's why we need to know the history and what we need to do to turn our income into wealth. Financial author and journalist Rodney Brooks joins us to tell us exactly what we need to do to achieve financial success.
You can't talk about why we are, as black people, where we are, unless you talk about how we got here.
Bridging the gap and getting wealthy, only on Blackstar Network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Jackie Hood Martin, and I have a question for you. Ever feel as if your life is teetering and the weight and pressure of the world is consistently on your shoulders? Well, let me tell you, living a balanced life isn't easy. Join me each Tuesday on Blackstar Network for A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie. We'll laugh together, cry together, pull ourselves together, and cheer each other on. So join me for new shows each Tuesday on Blackstar Network, A Balanced Life with Dr. Jackie.
Hey, what's up, y'all? I'm Devon Frank.
I'm Dr. Robin B., pharmacist and fitness coach, and you're watching Roland Martin Unfiltered.
All right, folks, welcome back for our final segment. Again, we're at TWA Hotel here at JFK Airport, here with IAM. It's been a fantastic show. We're going to close this out. Richie Johnson joins us, returns back, General VP, IAM Air Transport Territory. James Carlson, Transportation Coordinator, IAM as well. Gentlemen, glad to see both of you. James, I'll start with you. So last segment, we heard Dan talk about, again, getting folks to return those cards. But so just explain the system. Like, how does a person know when they sign, when it expires? How are they notified? Is it a text message? Is it an email? Are they told in person? How does that work?
So, Roland, and thanks for having us on, and we do everything. So, you know, we have all the data at our headquarters, and what we do is every single week we look at what cards are expiring, and we text message those folks. We send a letter in the mail to those folks. We phone bank those folks. Sometimes we even get in our cars and house call those folks. We send that information to the inside committees who, and I just have to say, you know, and they don't get enough credit here, is that these workers are very brave and courageous, and they care deeply about their workplace and their coworkers, and that's why they're doing this. But
because they're doing two jobs.
That's correct.
It's two jobs. It's their job, and then it's their union job.
It's incredibly difficult, and carriers that union bust will take workers who are very effective at talking and educating their coworkers, and they'll put them in a different job assignment, and they'll, you know, sit them by themselves somewhere, or they'll harass them and target them sometimes. But they have a federal right to do what they're doing. This is protected under federal law. You can talk about the union. You can sign cards in non-work areas during non-work times, and talk to your coworkers. It's not wrong. You can't get in trouble for doing it, and it's going to benefit you and every single person that you work for to have a voice in your career for your family.
And it's 45 cities?
Yeah, 45 cities from San Juan, Puerto Rico to Anchorage, Alaska, out to Honolulu, Hawaii. So, yeah, it's a pretty big undertaking, but listen, there's nobody in the labor movement that has done what these workers have done. And at JetBlue, too. 20 years, and they got to an election. That is great. Yeah.
So it's funny you talk about folks removed from one job going somewhere else. I think about Renault Robinson. He of course founded the Black Patrolmen's Union in Chicago. They hated him so much they assigned him to patrol an alley.
Yeah, well,
and they would drive by every hour to see if he was standing right there. And if he wasn't, because the whole goal was to fire him. And so they tried everything to get that brother out. But he was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna walk this damn alley every single day. And that's what he did, but he never gave up.
And that's what these workers aren't doing. They're not giving up. And this is about really sometimes we like to classify people. You know, you have politics that's going on. You have, you know, racism. You have gender-based divisions that you know are trying to be brought out. This is a worker. It doesn't matter who you supported in a presidential election. It doesn't matter who you love. It doesn't matter what color you are. And that's the great thing about the union movement, right? We're everybody and we're together. And that's the key to this, is workers to raise their consciousness and know what is possible, right? You don't have to go to work a flight attendant once told me this. She said, when I have to go to work at Delta Airlines, I have to become a different person, because she was scared to be targeted. She's saying, when I talk about the union, and she never gave up. To this day, she still does it. But that's what these workers are for. They're forced into a situation in which they can't relate freely, and they're inundated with messages and inundated with fear and risk. What the union buster does is get the worker to believe that joining a union will risk more of what they have at work than not joining a union. That is the goal.
Richard, but it was also that, I think, again, when you try to get people to understand this, corporate execs, they negotiate their deals.
Of course they do.
They negotiate salary, stock options, time off. I've seen deals where they negotiate how many hours they get on the corporate jet. I've seen there was an executive with Disney where they bought his house in the D.C. area, gave him the loan for his house in California. Then we left the company, paid off that house for him to go back. I mean, so when companies act like workers are demanding too much, this is literally what executives do every single day in these Fortune 500 companies.
Yeah, and we bring it to their attention. We talk to our members about that all the time. Excuse me, and they're not shy about it. They're not embarrassed about it. Like these CEOs don't have no guilt over it, or they don't care one bit about it. I mean, look at what the Boeing. Just to go back for a second here to the Boeing thing. Boeing executive was brought to Senate hearings. Right? Mm-hmm. He sat in front of them. And it was a stroke job. I mean, you had all these senators or congressmen and women there, and they're trying to chastise him and tell him, and how much money do you make, and what are you going to do? And he just sat there with a smirk. He just sat there, like, laughing at
because he was being paid to be there.
Well, that, and, by the way, you can't do anything about it.
Right.
Like, you can sit here and slap me on the hand. You can sit here and chastise me and pretend I'm a bad guy and tell me you better do this or you better do that, but what are you going to do? And the answer is they were going to do nothing. Boeing is one of the only aircraft manufacturers in the world. There's two of them, right? Airbus and Boeing. And the saying too big to fail. They're not worried. They weren't worried about were they going to put sanctions on them. They weren't going to do anything to them.
And they're not going to lose any government contracts.
No, but you know who could do something to them? Their employees. There was zero people, I don't care who you are, Congress, president, okay, nobody was going to hold them accountable. Nobody, except the employees. Because when those employees walked out the door and they said, no, screw you and your offers, and they rejected it 3 times, twice officially, but 3 times as a whole, it was only those 30,000 plus employees, 35,000 employees, and their union leadership that could hold Boeing accountable. Because guess what? You don't make them, you don't make no money. So when workers don't think they have the power, they're wrong. You have all the power. Right. Here's the only people that could hold one of the most powerful companies in the world accountable. It was the employees. And guess what? They got it. They got all of it, and they won.
But the thing there... But the thing there, James, one employee can't walk out. It has to be a collective in order to make that change happen.
That's 100% correct. There is power in unity, and we in every great movement in the United States, unity. You look at any time. You look at the labor movement. When the labor movement first began, you don't have power when you walk into an office by yourself, right? When you're a non-union and something happens at work, this is exactly what happens. Somebody sees you do something. If you're working on the ramp or you're working in the bag room, and the manager doesn't like you for whatever reason, calls you in the office to discuss that little problem, you're not there with anybody. With the union, you have somebody to back you up. And you got your brothers and sisters that work with you, hundreds, maybe thousands, that they stand with you. So there is power. And this is what this is about. It's about power. The reason why JetBlue and Delta say it's better without a union is because they know with a union, the workers have more power. They have the right to say, no, that's not correct. You're violating my agreement. And that's done together. All of this, look at the room. We travel together, and we are going to stand shoulder to shoulder with the JetBlue workers and the Delta workers and any worker that wants a fair shake and protection and rights and dignity on the job. It's impossible.
Well, we certainly appreciate being with you, partnering with you, and I tell people all the time, the reality is, when TV One canceled my show December 2017, there were a lot of people who were upset. They were mad. They wanted to go meet with the CEO. I said, y'all, that's a waste of time. And I said, he's not going to budge. And we went, our last show was December 21st. And an hour after we had that last show, I was sitting with Lee Saunders, who's the president and CEO of AFSCME. And Lee's an Alpha fraternity brother of mine. And he was bemoaning the fact of the show. He said, hey, we need this voice, especially going to election year. Then 24, I met with him, explained to him the vision with all that this is, and then 24 hours later, he said, we're in. So AFSCME was the only sponsor we had our first 2 years. And that's what allowed us to be able to build this, create this show, and going from 157,000 YouTube subscribers to now 1.52 million. And so, we've been doing 25, 30 million views a month. And so if it wasn't for them, we would not have been able to launch this show the scale that we did and to be at this point 6 years later. So so again, understanding why voices matter. And we also understand being able to spread this message, people begin to learn, and hopefully more people have a better understanding of the reality of many of these airline workers, and they can understand when they're trying to unionize. Now they know exactly what that means. So we appreciate partnering with y'all. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Roland.
Glad to be here. James, thanks a lot. Richard, thanks a lot. We thank all of y'all as well. I appreciate it. And so if folks want more information, where do they go? What's the website? Where do they go?
Where are we going?
What's
our website?
If folks trying to reach y'all, where do they go?
IAMDelta.net. You can go to that and get some more information.
Say it again.
IAMDelta.net. You can go to any one of the social media pages on Facebook, Delta and JetBlue. JetBlue's doing a great job without a website, so maybe we don't put one up. I don't know.
So it's IAMDelta.net. IAMDelta.net.
Yes, sir.
All right, I appreciate it. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Folks, that is it for us. I'll be back in studio in Washington, D.C. tomorrow. Don't forget to support the work that we do. We've got some great things coming up. I'll be in Oakland Thursday and Friday. Friday speaking at the memorial service for Frankie Beverly. Then, of course, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, we're in Atlanta for Global Hope Forum with Operation Hope. Don't forget, support all the work that we do, folks. If you want to join our Bring the Funk fan club, our goal is simple, getting 20,000 of our fans contributing on average $50 each. That's $4.19 a month, 13 cents a day. Since we launched this show, we've had 35,000 individual donors to our show. They've made it possible for us to do the work that we do. If you want to contribute using Cash App, use the QR code from Stripe right there on the screen. And if you are listening, just go to Blackstar Network or RolandSMartin.com for that QR code. You can also, of course, send your snail mail. Check your money order, P.O. Box 57196, Washington, D.C. 20037 7-0196. PayPal is R. Martin Unfiltered, Venmo RM Unfiltered, Zelle, Roland at RolandSMartin.com, Roland at RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Of course, download the Blackstar Network app. We've had about 130,000 downloads. We want to get to 200,000. Apple TV, Android TV, Apple phone, Android phone, of course, Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Xbox One, Samsung Smart TV. Also, you get a copy of my book. All the proceeds go right back into this show. Of course, White Fear, How the Browning of America is Making White Folks Lose Their Minds. Available at bookstores nationwide. Of course, Target, Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, BAM, and also get the audio version Audible. Yep, I did all the reading as well. And of course, you want to get your gear for the show. I see whose brother came in here with a sweatshirt on? I see you. I saw you with your sweatshirt. There you go, sweatshirt. There you go. All right, stand up. Stand up. Hey, Henry, get a shot of him. He got his gear on. So turn around so face the camera. There you go.
My mom just texted me. She needs I voted for the black woman.
Oh, so you say it again?
I said my mom just texted me. She said I voted. Don't blame me. I voted for the black woman.
Y'all want to get that shirt? Just put it up right there. Go to Roland Martin. Go pull it up. That's right. RolandMartin.creator-spring.com. RolandMartin.creator-spring.com to get your shirt. Don't blame me. I voted for the black woman. I'm going to be wearing that a lot over the next 4 years.
Apparently so will my mom.
Yes, so will your mama. All right. And tell your mom when she gets her shirt, take a picture. I'll put it on social media, show it on the show. Folks, that's it. Again, let me thank all of y'all. Good luck in your efforts, and we appreciate helping y'all make this possible. And again, everybody deserves to get what they deserve to take care of themselves and their families. So thank you so very much. Folks, y'all know how I was in the show. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Holla!
Blackstar Network is here.
Oh, no punch! I'm real revolutionary right now.
Thank you for being the voice of Black America.
All momentum we have now, we have to keep this going.
The video looks phenomenal.
See, there's a difference between Blackstar Network and black-owned media and something like CNN.
You can't be black-owned media and be scared.
It's time to be smart.
Bring your eyeballs home. You dig?